All right, everybody, we're back. One of my favorite shows of the week to be able to bring you. That's the Friday Review, and that's because I get to talk about all the different things that I love, all the updates from our private practice, what podcast you may have missed earlier in the week. Plus, I get to go through my book of the week or something that I believe that maybe you should be reading or at least refer to someone else. I go through a product review. Today's is a really fun one as I've been getting more into running. I want to share a favorite of mine that you may even use outside of running as well. And then I've got two research studies that you won't want to miss. One on how AI is helping to detect cancer at a much faster rate that every woman should know about. And the second is actually from a new research study. I don't want to say it's brand new, but it's a research study that people have been talking about over the last couple of years that I look more into. And it's been one of my favorite ways to reduce fight or flight and sympathetic nervous system dominance for many years now. And they added a fun little touch to it, which seems to work even better. So I'll be bringing you that here today. But as we get started, we always go with our updates of the week. You may have heard at the beginning of the show, but this is the very last week to save on the Reimagining Health Summit before ticket prices go up. So definitely want to use that code Cabral100. My team and I would love to see you live in person, along with 16 expert speakers, over 20 different exhibitors, and so much more. It's an amazing 2.5 days. I would absolutely check it out if I were you. Bring a friend, bring a loved one. And the website is rhsevent.com. That's rhsevent.com. Stands for the Reimagining Health Summit. Absolutely amazing event. And this year you actually get the bonus footage from last year in case you missed last year's live event. Check that out. This is the last week to get your tickets before ticket prices go up. This is also our detox week, so excited to always be able to bring you our quarterly detox that we do with the community. If you missed it, it's okay. You can find all the details at stevencabral.com/detox. We do this each and every year to keep lowering our rain barrel or emptying our rain barrel and doing our best to stay healthy and even just, I would say, better our best. All right, last update before we get into the podcast recap. I'll be bringing back more of our case studies. So a lot of you have been asking to review more labs, to share with you how you read these labs, how you look at the insights, and how you can use this with yourself and your own family. So besides obviously IHP and the IHP education, I will be bringing you those back on the podcast. If you want to see previous case studies, check them out at stevencabral.com/podcast. Just look on the right-hand column. You'll be able to see a little category that says case studies. Click on that. You'll see all the case study reviews where I actually do a screen share and take you through the different labs. All right. What is the podcast recap for the week? Well, on Monday, if you missed it, it was how to unconsciously reach your goals. So this is basically an ancient methodology that has been passed down from generation to generation as long as we have recorded human history. So here's the great thing about it, though, is that you begin to move through what's a 6-step process to actually achieving these goals. Now, why that's so great is that by the time you get to step 5, you no longer have to think about it. It's already a part of you. So definitely want to check out that show. That was episode 3146. On Tuesday's show is the top 10 spots in your home to check for mold. Really important. This is one of those stealth pathogens along with parasites, heavy metals, a few others that you're going to want to check for because the issue is it creates symptoms such as fatigue and inflammation and low mood and all the lows. It really wears in your body and creates inflammation. And you want to know what the root cause may be. Check out your home, check out your office. I give you those 10 spots. All right, Wednesday's show was a diet that boosts metabolism by more than 10 cents, by more than 10%. Yes, by even more than 10 cents. So this diet is phenomenal to take a look at. It's an easy thing to be able to implement, and you'll get a metabolic boost right away by extra 10%. So why does this matter? Well, if you look at it, well, what's a 10% boost? If you burn 2,000 calories a day, well, now you're going to be burning or burning off 200 more calories, right? 1,500, 150 more calories. It's a big difference. I mean, that actually equates to a decent amount of food. So definitely check out that show. And then yesterday's show was, are these indicators better in terms of health than BMI? So I share with you 3 other specific indicators to look at for health. These you can do all from home, really easy to look at. And they may be a better indicator than BMI if you're not someone that likes to go by BMI alone, which I am not. I just use it as one indicator. There's 3 other ones. If you pass those 3, well, even if your BMI is high, it may not be as much to worry about. All right. So that was a podcast review. You can always find all podcasts at stephencabral.com/podcasts. There's even a search box we can check for previous show topics. All right. Let's go over our product review of the week. Yes, I love the book review of the week, but this product I've been loving. I've been reluctant for years to wear these. I really have. So it's not like I haven't heard about them, and you probably have heard about them as well, but it's just not something I really wanted to do, to be truthful with you. But I said, you know what? Friend of mine, colleague of mine, he wears them. He's a bigger runner than me. I'm just trying to get back into running. Running's never been easy on my body. I've always done it, I would say previous, we'll talk high school and college. And then, yes, I did some sprint triathlons and just kind of stayed active, always being able to do a 5K, but never for a longer distance. My body, does not seem to hold up with that, but I want to be able to use it as a challenge. So one of the things that they recommended is a company called Aonijie or Aonijie, and it is Aonijie. One of the hardest companies to pronounce out there, but Aonijie, I'm going to show you what they look like. So if you're watching this on video, fantastic. If you're part of the YouTube community, we appreciate you for subscribing to the show, brand new shows every single day. But what you'll see here, and I actually it's a 3-pack. So I'm going to show you the non-used pairs. And if you're watching this, of course, on video, you can see that there's a little heel pocket, but then there's the individual 5 toes, right foot, left foot, and shares with you, of course, which foot to put them in. So they look like gloves, right? Gloves for your feet. You may have heard about them before, socks that actually you pull on, and each individual toe is enveloped by this cotton, right? Or this fabric. And again, I've known about them. I thought they were just kind of like a gag type thing. Here's why I started to look into it more seriously, is because my feet are a little wider, not super wide feet, but I have wider feet than regular socks. And so what happens is our toes become confined the more we wear shoes, especially narrow shoes, and the more we wear socks that pull our toes closer together. Our toes are naturally meant to splay out as we walk. Literally, they're meant to spread out. It helps with gripping the ground, it helps with balance, and so much more. And also the natural tendons and ligaments of the feet and creating arches, it's just so much better for you. You can't do that in regular socks unless they're a little looser. So the socks that I've worn in the past, Bonobos is a little bit wider. Which ones do I have on right now? ARL. And what I can do is I can actually push the seam a little towards the big toe, and I can allow my smaller toe, the little one on the end, to be able to open up wider. And so that's just kind of what I've done. But I actually started to wear these socks, and there is a tremendous difference. Now, there's a little bit of a getting used to curve to them because it feels a little bit odd. You literally have a sock between each toe. So that takes a little getting used to. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. However, it's pretty amazing that your toes then are naturally allowed to just splay out, which just kind of means like move apart. And you can obviously wear them running as well. So once you put them in a sneaker, it doesn't feel as different once you start to get going. One of the reasons why someone recommended this as well, especially in the heat when you're running, is that you're supposed to be less prone to getting blisters. So the sweat is absorbed to a greater degree. Here's the thing. I don't know if you're going to be a convert or not and switch over to toe-based socks, but what you can do is you can give them a shot. These ones are the Cool Max, but they have all sorts of different brands. I'll link up their website. We don't have a discount code yet. If they want to share a discount code, we'll reach out to them and we'll leave that at stephencabral.com/3150. That's stephencabral.com/3150. I've been sharing all my new different favorite running gear with you, sneakers, etc. These socks I've added to the list. Really, honestly, I know it's not probably seem like a technological breakthrough, but a big breakthrough in allowing your feet to actually feel like you're barefoot, that you're walking around and able to use your toes in the way that they're meant to be used. So check them out, try them out, take off your shoes whenever you're in the house. You can wear these barefoot socks. which allow those toes to separate. All right, that is it. I will link that up. I'll link up their website. I'll link up their Amazon site as well. Our book review of the week is called The Metabolic Approach to Cancer: Integrating Deep Nutrition, the Ketogenic Diet, and Non-Toxic Bioindividualized Therapies. It's by Dr. Nasha, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, Winters, as well as Jess Higgins Kelly. So, this book, it's a big book. It's substantial. What is that, about 330 pages or so, but excellent. So I've recommended a few books on cancer in the past. This is pretty comprehensive in terms of giving you a little bit of information in a lot of different areas. I want to share with you the table of contents and then give you what I liked about it. A couple of things that I don't necessarily agree with as much. You might have already guessed, but we'll get to that in a moment. So, basically, assessing your terrain. There's a pretty good, and by terrain, they're talking about the soil of the body, like how the body actually works with its own biology. Are there a lot of toxins, right? I've talked about this in the rain barrel effect. Are you nutrient deficient? Do you have a lot of inflammation? So there's a quiz at the beginning. Then it goes over genetics, epigenetics, and nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics, if you're not familiar, is basically how food influences our genes. Then it goes over sugar, cancer, and the ketogenic diet, carcinogens, cancer, and detoxification. Goes over our gut. It goes over our immune function, goes over inflammation and oxidation. It goes over how cancer can spread, goes over hormone balance. Much of that is for women. There is obviously some for men as well, but a lot of this is working with women that I've noticed too. Again, men can read this book. I read this book, but there is a lot pertaining to women here too. And then kind of connecting all different types of medicine. And the final part towards the end of the book is going through kind of her top 10 of how can we kind of clean up the toxins in our homes and approach cancer from a lifestyle-based perspective. So overall, I found myself kind of nodding my head in agreement as I was reading through the book and agreeing with 90% plus of what's in there. You know that I'm not an advocate of a long-term ketogenic diet. I don't know if even Dr. Winters is as well, but I do understand the effect of if someone's dealing with high levels of blood sugar, they already have cancer, they're going to want to be able to balance those blood sugar levels because they already have cancer. And so now they want to not feed the cancer, metastasize it. I totally get it. However, there's no evidence that fruit, especially berries and things like that, cause cancer. So much so, it's actually on the inverse of that people who eat more brightly colored fruits and veggies have less cancer. So I just want to share that because that is actually factual. And then there is also the research to contend with that. The longer you're on a ketogenic diet, unfortunately, the increase in all-cause mortality. So using the ketogenic diet for a period of time, I actually am on board with, and I've been using that in my practice now since the early 2000s. That's 21 days to 28 days for us. We use the functional medicine detox at Equalife. You can find that out at stephencabral.com/detox, but we have never recommended, nor do we recommend, long phase keto-based diet, except, again, in medical-based circumstances, working with your practitioner, and that, of course, is a different story. Brain cancers and others seem to respond far better to those types of diets. All right, so overall, excellent book, definitely recommending it. And if you want to learn more about, again, a metabolic approach to cancer, check it out. One other page that just went live last week, and I really do appreciate all of our community feedback on that. Literally, it has to be over 1,000 people that have DM'd and replied from IHP, from social media, etc. Just thanking us for putting that together. But if you go to stephencabral.com/cancer, it is a free 25-page guide, all on one page, all on one article that can be updated every quarter as we update it on an integrative approach to cancer, how I look at it from all different perspectives, and that's completely free. So that's just stephencabral.com/cancer. And then I'm also going to link up Dr. Winter's book as well. So there you go. More resources on our battle to fight cancer as naturally as we can. Okay. 2 research studies to cap off this Friday review. The first one is how AI is detecting breast cancer 5 years in advance. So I've now shared with you how AI is being integrated in different MRIs and other models for different organs of the body. Now it's actually being used with breast cancer. So I'm going to link this up. This is actually very fascinating because when I was looking at the side-by-side photos, I found it very impressive as well as to how the human eye cannot detect the microscopic anomalies of normal breast tissue versus a potential tumor being created. But artificial intelligence, which is looked at, hundreds of thousands of these images, is able to detect what is the abnormality. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you right now. Researchers have created a robust risk assessment algorithm called MIRAI. And I actually talked a little bit about this in the past. It's just much more advanced now. So it's MIRAI that shows consistent performance across data sets from the US, Europe, and Asia. The system was developed by MIT and joint in conjunction with the Jameel Clinic. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that correctly, but it detects cancer risk up to 5 years in advance. It improves existing modalities and especially useful for those people who are later in age or have a family history of breast-based cancer. So just wanted to let you know that I know a lot of people are fearful of AI, and I totally get that, artificial intelligence, but it can be used ethically. It really can be used for good. We're looking at it right now to be able to use it in those ethical ways, to be able to find abnormalities in labs, to be able to find abnormalities across the board, but also what's greatest, what's most beneficial, what's helping the most people, and to be able to share that in a responsible way. So I'm really excited about it. I think that, again, there's the potential for misuse and for evil, but certainly I think enough people will use it for good that there's going to be a huge outpouring of new breakthroughs, and this will hopefully be one of them. All right, the last one, kind of a fun one to end with. It's called Cyclic Sighing, and I'm going to give it to you right now. Again, it's been chatted about now for I don't know, maybe it's been a year or two, but I wanted to look more into it. So I'm just going to give you the excerpt. This is what I used to recommend in my practice and still do. So a lot of people like breath work for calming the nervous system. And I am one of those individuals. I've actually found it more beneficial than almost anything else. It's why I try to share it and teach it to my daughters. I try to teach it in my practice. But what I found many years ago, whenever I was stressed, and maybe you do as well, I hold my breath. Like I'm just not breathing. And I tense up, my chest gets tense, everything gets tense. That's the sympathetic nervous system. That's that tension. We can actually short circuit the fight or flight response through what I used to teach, and I'll give you the new method. What I always taught was this: breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds and breathe out for 7 seconds. So in for 5, out for 7. It does not matter whether it's 3 seconds in or 5, but the exhale needs to be longer than the inhale. So if you did 3 seconds in, because that's all you can do, then do 5 seconds out. But if you can't inhale and exhale for 5 and 7, it typically does mean that you're holding a lot of tension. So just something to think about. 3 seconds in, 5 seconds out, working your way up to maybe 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out. Okay, so what is that? Well, it's a longer exhale than inhale, which is what induces parasympathetic nervous system tone. That's the opposite of fight or flight. So it short circuits fight or flight. So what I always did when I was under super tension and stress and all that, especially when I had my 2 big clinics and there's a million things going on, dozens of employees, thousands of clients, like all sorts of things, just catch myself and just take 5 breaths. That's all I would do. 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out. 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out. It's 1 minute, 60 seconds. That's it. Okay. So Stanford University looked deeper into this. They compared cyclic breathing, which is what I was just talking about with one little extra piece to it, or box breathing, or meditation, or other types of breath work. And what they found was the breath work that I just shared with you worked better than meditation, box breathing, which is breathe in for 4 or 5, whatever you want it to be. It just has to be the same seconds. hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. So 5 seconds, however you want to do it. So that's box breathing. It's never been my favorite. It is good for a lot of people. I always like the shorter inhale, longer exhale. Okay. So Stanford University found that is the very best way to calm anxiety and stress. But they added one more interesting point to it. I've heard Andrew Huberman talk about it as well. You're going to breathe in like you normally would. Let's just say for your 3 to 5 seconds. So, and you take one extra inhale. So that's just me breathing through my nose, kind of exaggerating it so you can hear it. And then the second exhale. So it's a shorter inhale still, but what they call an extra sip of air, SIP, just an extra sip of air. So and just that long exhale out of your mouth. And if you can, extra points for breathing into that diaphragm, feeling your rib cage expand lower into the belly, side to side, and then just letting it all come out nice and slow and rhythmic. If you do that, you're going to feel hopefully a greater sense of calm and peace, less anxiety. Give it a shot. Let me know how you liked it. I will link up the study, and also I'll link up a video demonstrating that as well. Obviously, you have this video. I'll link up another one too, just to be able to share the love to other individuals. Okay, everybody, appreciate you. Thanks so much. As always, do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. All the notes today are at stephencabral.com/3150. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.